The main objective of dissociation is to help you to separate, distance yourself, dissociate of any traumatic process you might be experiencing. Dissociation helps you to find a state of balance, which allows you to efficiently manage the emotions you experience in your daily life. Therefore, this technique is not only used within the framework of couple relationships, but in any process of learning emotional balance. To do this, think of the sun as the negative emotions that affect you throughout your life, and this planet Earth that you are seeing on your screen here as your ego state. What happens if you approach this planet Earth, or this planet James, or Carol, whatever your name is, to this sun? Well, obviously, the planet is going to end up overheating due to excessive heat and disintegrating. So think about this example with what happens with your emotional states or with your traumas. If you think too much about your previous partner, you're clearly causing your emotions to skyrocket. That there is a process of psychic overheating. And of course, that is precisely what causes you to experience that pain that you cannot get rid of. The one that causes the depression or anxiety that you are surely facing right now. So, when you think about your previous partner or the traumatic situation you suffered because of him, this is precisely what shows that the bond that you have developed with your previous partner or with the trauma is what causes a process of traction, a force of emotional gravity, which results in you getting closer and closer to this sun that will eventually threaten to destroy your ego state and even more so, mind you, destroy your entire life. And that is the reason why the first steps I take in the therapy that I apply in my office is to teach you to dissociate from what hurts you. Not only in relation to the trauma that brings you to my consultation, but above all, in relation to everything you may face in your life. So that is the advantage of this mental power program that you are taking, that it will allow you to dissociate from everything that hurts you. And therefore, you will have already inferred that what I am teaching you here is precisely to strengthen your entire psyche, so that no one will ever hurt you again. So, back to the astronomical example, we are going to call it psychic astronomical. Observe what happens if I move the planet James or Carol away from this emotional sun that you are facing. Well, I push it away, I break the force of emotional gravity, and look, the planet returns to a state of balance. The sun is still present, it still exerts a certain force, but it no longer affects you like when you were very close to it. Because you must keep in mind that that bad experience will always be present with you. It is not healthy for you to forget about it, because if you do, you're going to miss out on what you were supposed to learn thanks to that negative process you faced. Because look, what happens if I move the planet too far from your emotional sun? It freezes. That is, you enter a state of apathy, of loss of emotions, which is not what is thought with a process of this type. That is why psychic healing processes are usually very delicate. You cannot fall too deep into your emotions, but you cannot lose them either. So, based on everything we have talked about up to this point, you are already clear that dissociation is a process through which we seek to move you away naturally from what hurts you. Not so that you lose your emotions, but so that you find your own balance. And that is where some of the techniques that I am going to be teaching you here are going to come into play. Now, you must keep in mind that on the one hand, there is emotional dissociation, and on the other, There's personal dissociation. What do I mean by this? Emotional dissociation consists of defining and distancing yourself from the emotions that hurt you, while personal dissociation has to do with separating yourself from people who become toxic to you. Sometimes it is emotions, it is yourself who gets hurt, and other times it is people close to you who do it. So here it is about becoming aware of what really hurts you. Is it the other person, the one who hurt you in the past, or the one who continues to hurt you in your present? Or is it the emotions you experience when you remember that person? In the first case, we could talk about someone who intentionally carries out actions to hurt you, as if your ex-partner or one of her friends send you photos of him or her being happy. You know this? Here we must induce a state of dissociation of the person, so that what he does or doesn't do is irrelevant to you. But sometimes it is your emotions that lead you to suffer when apparently no one is doing anything to you. This is the case of people who develop compulsions, such as researching what their previous partner is doing on social networks. These are the famous obsessive thoughts. I feel sad, I think about what that person did to me, I enter a state of psychic trance from which I cannot escape, and I remain in an emotion that hurts me. That is why, as I said, we must make the distinction between emotional dissociation and personal dissociation. In general, it is usually a combination of both factors, although it is good that you define which of the two elements has the greatest impact on you. It is your ex-partner who continues to bother you, or it is your emotions that betray you. If it is the first case, you should stay away from your ex-partner because in some way he is trying to manipulate you. If it is the latter, you must separate yourself from your emotions so that they do not affect you in the way they are doing at this moment. Let's explore a successful case I worked on a few years ago where I used dissociation to help a person overcome an emotional trauma he was suffering at that moment so that you can begin to visualize for yourself what you are going to achieve once you learn this treatment. See you in the next section.